Now, from the downtown of Northwest Arkansas, in Uptown Rogers, with weather from Bentonville to Fayetteville, Fort Smith, and beyond, here's Oz weather meteorologist, Garrett Lewis.
Tornado warning in effect for Sequoyah County. The storm tracking towards the south and southeast. It could be getting into the Fort Smith area soon. Also watching another storm. There are two supercells out there, one moving into Fayetteville, one moving into Sallisaw. The storm near Sallisaw has 3-inch size hail. That's larger than tennis ball size, moving southeast. It also has a tornado warning on it. Let's get to it, talk about what we're seeing now, and then what we'll see in the next couple of hours. A live look now looking northbound towards Fayetteville, a hazy evening. Those storms looming just out towards the west and moving east across the Oklahoma and Arkansas state line. This is a look right now at where the storms are located. Let's look on Analyst as we loop this over the last hour or so. You can see the front. You can make it out really easily. It's that line running from north to south into southeast Oklahoma. The storm mode this evening has been supercells, but it also favors some very large hail. For the storms to move east and northeast, they're not going to do tornadoes. If the storms move east-southeast, they're going to sweep out what we call the helicity, or that low-level spin. They're going to have a lot easier time making tornadoes. That's what's going on in the Sequoyah County storm. You can see the general track is more east-southeast. It's a right mover. Those right-turning storms have a higher risk of tornadoes. So let's stop and let's zoom in first to the strongest storm, and then we'll cruise around the area and talk about what else is going on. This is the storm of most concern right now. Again, 3-inch size hail. That's huge hail, larger than tennis ball size. Let's isolate exactly where the hail is falling, and the largest amount right now is just to the south of Marble City, north of Pinhook Corner. That's where we're looking at that golf ball to baseball size hail currently falling. That's central Sequoyah County. I'm going to look back at this. We'll zoom out. Let's look for rotation in the storm now. So we're going to try to find where the storm is spinning, if it's still spinning, and yes, it is. We're looking at some decent rotation near and around Marble City. If there's a tornado, it's northwest of Dwight Mission, right here where this red and green meet each other. I'll zoom out and loop this, and what you'll be able to see is actually that rotation as it moves in. See if you can see that turning. It is a right-moving storm that's been dropping southeast. There may be a little bit more of an east-northeast movement, which is nice to see on that storm. It could indicate a weakening trend, but as of right now, it's still certainly capable of producing a tornado really at any moment here in central northwest Sequoyah County. On its current track, will it get into Sallisaw? Well, right now it looks like it may go just north, but it's going to be a close one. Let's see if we can find any tornado debris in this. Let's look at this real close here. A little blue pixel there. Let's see here. Let me back up a couple frames where it was a little stronger. We had that stronger mezzo on it. And back up a little more. There may have been a tornado debris signature on here. The radar's pretty messy, so it's difficult to tell. It would have been right in there. Let's see here. Let's go forward on this. Super messy. Can't tell you right now if it's on the ground or not. It certainly doesn't. It's not evident from the radar. The radar beam on this, by the way, is about 2,200 feet above the surface, so it's not picking up any debris in that immediate area. But if there was a tornado, again, it's north of Pinhook Corner, tracking southeast. It's going to be just to the west of Highway 59 by about 53 miles. So it's quite a bit. Wait, that's not right. Let me look at this again. That doesn't sound right at all. So if we place a marker on the storm here, let's see. And then look to the east. It's about 6 miles. That sounds better. 6 miles to the west of 59. From about Aikens westward out towards Marble City. Again, looking at some very large hail with that storm as it tracks in. So we have that storm. We also have this storm that we're watching here about to move into Fayetteville. I don't see any deep rotation in this. There's a little bit of rotation on the west side. It's not much. This looks more like a rainmaker and hail producer. The heaviest hail with this storm is actually west of Tawnytown, moving east towards Springdale. That's 1-inch hail. Get ready for quarter-size hail coming into Tawnytown, Springdale, and Johnson in the next 30 to 45 minutes here. It's a fast move. We've already got rain in Johnson. The hail core is actually just to the west, though. If you isolate it, you can see where the hail is located here, just to the west of Johnson. That storm is also tracking towards the east. So we got two supercells to watch. Both of them are moving east into Arkansas. One's already fully in Arkansas. If you look at this one near Bentonville, we have another one going up here. That one's not spinning. That one has a little bit of hail to the west side of Centerton. It's not much. We'll see if this one grows. Now, on the west side of this system, once the line moves through, you're in the clear. So we're not going to have anything else to worry about. Decatur or even Salem Springs, things have all moved out towards the east. So it's not an all-night event for us, but we certainly have some of these storms that are moving in. Now, the hail size on that storm in Sequoyah County's come down. We're looking at quarter size now, down from tennis ball size hail just earlier. That storm continues to track into central Sequoyah County as a very strong storm. I'm going to see if I can find you a camera that looks out towards the west. We may check in on Zachary Hall, Arkansas Storm Chaser, see what he's up to. This is westbound on I-40. That's just to the west of the actually, I think we're looking towards the visitor center that's there, but we're looking west into the storm, which is just to the right of the screen there. You can see some lightning flashes out into the distance. Really, this we're not looking at storms for everybody with this. They're going to be scattered, so not everybody's going to get rain. Some of you won't see any rain out of this thing as it moves on in, but some of it's going to get some very large hail depending on where you're located and where this storm is tracking and if it's tracking right over your location. Elsewhere across the area, not looking at a whole lot in the way of any other big storms. We have two that are out there. This is a look near the interchange there from I-40 to 540. Right there as you're approaching Van Buren, you can see some clouds out in the distance. Some shelf clouds will move in. Those are those low-hanging ones. Occasionally we'll see some lightning out there in the distance as well. It's mostly towards the right side of the screen, just to the bottom of that RDOT logo. There you go. There's some lightning strikes that are out there as well. So we'll go back to analysts real quick. Let's isolate the rotation, the hail, and then we'll check out some other features which are going on. We have two supercells. We have one moving into Fayetteville. We have one moving into Fort Smith. The one to the south has a tornado warning on it. The one to the north does not, at least not yet. Let's zoom into Sallisaw first and look at this storm. The rotation aspect of this is still spinning here. We've got an area, a pocket of rotation near Pinhook Corner. I'll tell you, though, it's down. It's down compared to where it was, but it's still spinning. You can see in those last couple frames, we got some good rotation here north of Marble City. The current track of that would put it just north of Sallisaw if it continues on its current track. Of course, if it dives a little south, it's going to be a little bit closer there. But the rotation is down on this. It's weaker, and we don't have any tornado debris signatures to look at on radar. So far, so good with that storm, even though it's thrown out some nearly tennis ball size hail with it. Here's the storm moving into Springdale and Fayetteville. This storm, not really spinning that much either. There's maybe you can make out some weak rotation there. I don't see much. I see larger hail, though, that's currently falling west of Tawnytown on 412, moving towards the east. That larger hail right along 412 moving towards Tawnytown. So if you're in Tawnytown, I hope the car's in the garage and this thing moves through. It could cause some problems if it's not. The 412 camera that's out there near Pedro, near the interstate, or near the highway, here it is. Boy, it is coming down good on 412. This is actually, I believe we're looking to the west of where this storm has actually moved through. So this would be the Palmer part of the storm. Maybe we're right in the middle of it. It's showing about quarter size hail on this. This near the town of Pedro. See if I can show you that and what it looks like a little bit clearer here for you. Let's zoom in on this and really zero in. So here's Tawnytown. Here's the hail core. There's Robinson, Harmon. There's Pedro here. So that's the camera we were just looking at. So the hail is actually past Pedro. It's currently located on, let's see here. We've got it near Story Lane, Wildcat Creek Boulevard, Rocky Lane. That's moving east. That hail will move into Harmon, out towards Harmon Road, coming right over towards Mama Z's and looking at it near Tawnytown and Kevin Lane, farther to the south on 112. That's going to be that's that interchange right there at 112 where you've got the what do you got? The McDonald's there on the corner. We got Plaza Tire there on the other side of the street. As you go up 112 here, You're looking at some of these stronger storms out moving in right now. Also along right down Sunset, essentially Jones Road, 64th Street, West Sunset, and then of course we get to exit 72, where we're right at the interstate. So let's look at this thing and see if we can just get a good glimpse of where we're at here, and for this thunderstorm that's about to move into Springdale. We'll look at it first. How about we look at it from the look to the north from Johnson. Of course, it's raining in Johnson now, pretty messy. That's northbound approaching Johnson. The strongest storm there is just to the left of the screen. Man, there's a lot of traffic out there this evening, right? Well, it is Memorial Day weekend, and this Friday is probably going to be pretty busy for a lot of folks who are out and about and doing some traveling. But that camera would be located right south of Johnson, looking north. So we were looking up in this direction just a moment ago towards where some of that larger hail would be falling. And again, that hail core is tracking towards Springdale. So if you're near 412 and 49, heads up, we've got some storms moving in that could have some very large hail here shortly. This is what it looks like looking live here as you approach the 412 exit looking southbound. You have the Holiday Inn on the left, you have Arvest Ballpark in the distance on the right, as well as Arkansas Children's Hospital. That storm is coming down 412, so it'd be on the right side of the screen. A new scan just came in, so let's look at this. Here's a look at where it is. The hail core still moving down across Tawnytown. Some of the roads affected by this: Sugar Pine Street, Arden Street, Maple View Street, Fair Oak, Madden Street, Trailwood Street, and Jameson Street, all getting some of this hail right now that is quickly moving towards South Barrington Road, moving to the east and towards the northeast. So Barrington's going to be this north-south road in the center of the screen. Here's Tawnytown. So Tawnytown Post Office is going to be right about here. So it's coming up on the church there at Tawnytown, moving eastward. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning. We are not looking at a tornado warning on this storm. As far as the rotation component goes on this, I don't see much. I see some gusty winds, a lot of lightning, but mostly this is more of a hail producing thunderstorm that's approaching Tawnytown and Springdale right now from the west. So in that area, expect some very heavy rainfall, some gusty winds, and some hail. Right now, I would suspect this stuff is about quarter size. Here's another look at Johnson looking northbound here. And you can see some of the traffic that's out there. And to the left, we may get a lightning strike or two as the storm gets a little bit closer. So that's the one storm we're watching, the supercell storm. It's also got a little bit out over Centerton and Bentonville. The wind speeds on that don't show any rotation. And as far as hail goes on it, I'm just going to look and see how this thing's been trending here for the last couple minutes here. Let's see if it's been intensifying or weakening. And looks like the storm near Elm Springs is holding its own, and the one near Centerton may be getting just a little stronger as it's moving towards the east. Um, that's the only storm of focus, or at least right now, up and down the I-49 corridor there near Fayetteville and Springdale, as well as Tawnytown. So we'll check back in on that as that storm moves in. For now, let's drop south, though. The tornado warning has been allowed to expire. And that's because the rotation's off of it. You guys saw it with me here. That thing was spinning earlier. It's not so much spinning anymore. It was spinning around Marble City, and it does indeed still have a mesocyclone in it. So if you're in around Highway 59 in this area, it's still spinning. It's just not spinning enough to really justify a tornado warning on the storm from the Weather Service. And I think some of that is because the storm to the south really got into the one to the north, really jacked with the inflow and messed it up. And so the storm probably is going through some kind of cycling mode here. We'll need to watch the southwest side of the storm to see if it's got any more juice left in it as it moves southeast. If it doesn't, it's not going to be a tornado producing storm, but it will be a large hail producing storm. Guys, this is coming into Van Buren, maybe the north side of Fort Smith, more so for Van Buren and Cedarville, though, and possibly Alma. So a big heads up on those two cells that are out there. So this is where we are with the radar. You can see the two specific cells, the front squeezing into the area. The southeastward extent is going to slow, and the severe threat is going to wane with time. So we're not going to be dealing with constant severe weather during the overnight hours, but we're certainly dealing with it now, aren't we, with these showers and storms that are out there. Back over to analysts. Let's get another look at where this is and where it's tracking. Of course, that was the 1-inch hail that's falling here near Tawnytown. The hail sizes have really come down near Salisaw. I mean, this thing really pushed out some crazy hail earlier. You can see the dark purples here, and at times, um, up to 2 or even 3-inch hail on that storm as it moved through right underneath that meso, and then it weakened. And so now we're looking at a much weaker storm as it moves east. The colors are down on it. That is indicative of a weakening trend. Of course, if you're out there driving in it, you're thinking, But if you're out there driving in it, why are you on your phone watching this on YouTube or Facebook? Don't do that. It's not good. The Bentonville storm looks like it's coming up a little bit. The maximum estimated hail size on that is approaching quarter now. That's west side of Bentonville out towards Centerton. So let's see if we can get a look at what this looks like here. And this storm is tracking towards the east. Again, not a tornado on this one either. This a live look from Central, looking towards the new LDS church there on the left, the temple, and that's looking more north northwest. So we need to find a camera that's looking more towards us and looking deeper into the thunderstorm. And I feel like that Uptown Cam near Bellevue is probably going to do us a lot of good here looking at it. Let's see. This is northbound towards Uptown, so the amp would be what on the right side of the screen there. You've got Hunt Towers at center screen, Chewy's on the left, the new hotel, that 6, 7 story hotel that's going up over there off of Pauline Whitaker. You can kind of see it out in the distance, and of course the flashing lights there on the right, where the Top Golf is located. Mercy Hospital would be on the far right side of the screen, and on the extreme far right would be where Target is. So getting some lightning moving in. Again, that's looking northbound from Rogers out towards that storm in Bentonville. I don't see much in the way of hail on that storm, at least not yet. But we'll look at these cameras when they cross the, or look at when these storms cross the cameras to really get a feel for, what's going on out there, whether or not it's actually throwing out the hail the radar says it is. But the storm in Bentonville actually is intensifying. You can see as it's ramped up here. We'll see how it affects the one to the south out towards Fayetteville. I'm gonna look at this thing real quick for any signs of rotation on it. Let's see here. Don't really see any. I was looking at this side here on the southwest side, just because it looked like this thing was trying to reorganize and maybe do something there west of Fayetteville. Visually, it looks like it, but as far as the velocity products go, I'm not seeing it. I do see a north storm split. Can you see where that storm split and moved up towards Springdale right there? So these north splits like that are classic hail producers. So I think hail is still the dominant risk with the storm. Maximum estimated hail size on this is down. It's less than quarter. It's actually less than dime size right now. That's moving towards the Springdale area. The hail in Bentonville is actually a little larger. It's a little over ½ inch right now, moving towards the north northeast. It could approach dime size in the Bentonville area as this specific storm starts to make its way in. This is how it looks out towards Tiger looking southbound. You have those showers and storms lighting up the sky. Lots of lightning with this thing. The storm is actually on the right side of the screen there, moving across 49. It'll be moving through there shortly. Let's go back to a big view. Let's talk about what we're seeing and then what's happening next for us. So, this is a wide view of the showers and storms that are affecting Oz now. You have that storm in Sequoia County, which at one time had a tornado warning on it. That was when it was moving east southeast. That warning has since fallen off. It's moving towards the south southeast, and I was actually looking at Zach right now. He was texting me, so I'm gonna pull up Zach's camera. Let's call Zach. Let's see what Zach's up to. Looks like he stopped somewhere. Zach's got his own. I'm talking about Zachary Hall, Arkansas Storm Chaser. He's got his camera up. I'm gonna see if I can call him, and let's just see what happens. See if I can pull him up here. Hey Zach, it's Garrett Lewis. Got you up on the live stream. I know you were watching that storm in Sequoia County like I was. I've got your camera pulled up now. Where you at? Where you headed?
So I just cut on I-40 and had the eastbound out of Moultrie. I gave this storm a chance, but I knew when it took on that merger, I had a feeling it was probably going to be a little detrimental. And seems to be the case for the moment. I'm going to go east on 40 to back to Van Buren. I might go back north on 49 and see if this thing does it again. Mm-hmm. But really strong storm, a lot of lightning. So just trying to reposition for it.
All right, sounds good. I wondered that too. I wondered if it was like with that merger, if it's weakening and then maybe cycling and may pick back up on the southwest side. We'll have to see what happens. But I think that's probably the most likely scenario.
Yeah, going to go east and at least give it a shot and readjust, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, the tornado parameters I don't think are real high, but it's May.
It is.
And gotta take it serious. So
Brian, never trust a May storm, man. All right, well, be careful, and I'll check back in with you here. We'll see what this thing does as it gets into Van Buren and Fort Smith.
call me if you need something.
All right, thanks a lot, Zach. All right, that's Arkansas storm tracker Zachary Hall. You can watch his live feed if you want on YouTube or Facebook. I've got it pulled up in the background. I'm keeping an eye on it. Of course, you're looking at it live here as well as we approach the 9 o'clock hour with those storms moving in. He's moving eastbound out towards Muldrow to get ahead of this thing. So a good storm chaser, storm tracker would want to stay south of the storm and look at the inflow. The crazy yahoos are the ones that drive right into it. That's the video you see on all the networks. Those people are questionable. Let's leave it at that. Here's another look at it, though. These are the storms that are moving in across the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line. You've got two of them out there. Let's look at the only severe storm at the moment. The warning actually is off the Sallisaw storm moving in. We do have a warning, though, on the storm moving into Springdale with the strongest storm around Elm Springs. So that is tracking towards the east in the Elm Springs area. It has lots of lightning with it as it starts to move in. This is coming right up on Puppy Creek and the 612 interchange. I'm going to try to bring you a shot here from the 612 interchange. Let's see what's going on here. Hopefully we don't have to do any accident play-by-play, but it is I-49, and it is a Friday night, and no one does know how to drive in Northwest Arkansas, especially the ones with Texas tags, so it could get interesting. That's a jab at the students at UA, not for those of you Texas transplants. We know that you've tried. This is looking south, so the northbound lanes are looking pretty messy out there. It's looking slow. I don't see as much lightning as I thought I would see on this particular storm. But again, to reiterate, hail is the main threat with the storm that's moving in. It's not so much tornadoes unless the storm makes a hard right turn. If it makes a right turn, then yeah, we do have a tornado threat with it. As long as it moves northeast, the tornado threat stays down on it. The heaviest part of the storm is going to be just north of Sunset. Let's see here. I'm going to zoom in on this. So here we are. Let's just zoom all the way in. Here's Sunset, right? Middle of the screen. I-49 north southbound. You've got Sunset over here. You got Harbor just to the west, northwest. There's Harbor Avenue. So there's that red light on 112 where Harbor is. If we look back to the north, now we're looking up towards Elm Springs exit. So this is the Walmart here near exit 73. That's that roundabout, which nobody in Northwest Arkansas knows how to use a roundabout either. So that's always fun driving home from work. Bacchus Avenue, North 40th Street. Zooming out a little bit more, there's a new scan. The heaviest cell looks like it's right over. Let's see if we can populate some streets. This is North 56th Street. That subdivision out around, is it Fredonia and Niagara Street? So that's going to be moving east on the north side of Springdale out towards Huntsville Avenue, Bacchus Avenue. Here's Emma, which runs east out towards the Jones Center. And boy, have you been down to the new area where they've done a lot of developing? It looks amazing down there. They've really made the east side of Springdale around downtown really nice. If you haven't done the square to square, you should do it. Springdale's got a great stop there. So here's 265. There's Emma. So we're looking at the Rodeo, the Ozarks area where this hail is moving into. Weather Service is saying this is going to be about quarter size hail with it. Let me see if that's what I'm also seeing on this. The Bentonville storm came up. We'll look at that one next. Let's see here. Honestly, I'm not even really seeing quarter size hail with this. I don't see much hail at all in Springdale. And if there is any, it's over Elm Springs and it's small. Now, having said that, we've got about almost quarter size hail near Bentonville, which had just crossed over the interstate out towards Little Flock. And I know we've got the Battlefield Boulevard camera that's out there looking northbound. So here it is. This is looking at that hail core that's out there. And it's you couldn't see the hail, but this is the strongest part of the storm that's currently in Bentonville. So let's look back at this and find out where this one is going. This is the only severe storm, at least at the moment. The strongest hail on this is out around Little Flock. So this is around Rolling Meadows Drive, High Plains Drive, out around Little Flock Drive. So our friends over at the Children's Advocacy Center, you guys are getting pounded with all this hail now. That's moving out towards Pleasant Hill and then farther east out towards Northeast Hudson. So this is where you'd go northeast if you're headed out to Beaver Lake, out through Brightwater and eventually Garfield, depending on which boat ramp you're going to go to, I suppose, out of Beaver Lake. Let's go ahead and check for rotation first. That cell in Bentonville picked up pretty good. So let's go to that and let's see what we're looking at. And I'm going to back out of this real quick and we'll go over to this and look at this. I'm seeing some gusty winds near Little Flock. I've got hail at 3/4 of an inch. That's a dime size. It's hail. It's nothing to write home to mama about at this point. You've got storms over Springdale that are severe. Probably wouldn't be surprised if we get a new warning on this bad boy here around Bentonville. That one seems to be intensifying a little bit more. Let me loop it. And let's see if we can see the trend here. The trend for Springdale has been down. The trend for that one that moved over Bentonville is up. In fact, I'm looking at near Avoca is actually where the strongest part of that storm is. It's moved over Bentonville and is now near Avoca on 62. So if you take Hudson out to the northeast, you pass Raider Road, the Brightwater. We're getting out there towards the Rogers Airport. Um, so north of Prairie Creek, heavy rainfall, heavy rain as well out towards Uptown Rogers now. We're getting it over at my place. I can hear it outside. The Goldens are in the other room, so hopefully they're not eating anything because one Willow, she's crazy. She hears thunder, she loses her mind. Kihei, he's kind of a dumb Golden. He just loves everyone, which those are the best Goldens to have, right? Let's take a look southbound from Pleasant Grove. This is the southbound traffic near Rogers approaching Lowell. Everybody's got their four ways on. They're saying, "Hey, I'm driving slow," which I mean it's Friday on 49 in Northwest Arkansas, so fast really isn't an option. You can see the trees at the bottom of the screen moving. We got lots of lightning with this. Some gusty winds. That's Walmart #1 there on the left. On the left side of the interstate, you can kind of see the sign there. You know, the first Walmart was actually in Rogers. Bentonville was the five and dime. And to build this Walmart one, they relocated it from the east side of Rogers to the west side of Rogers and actually annexed in some of the land there from Lowell. That's so if you look at your receipt, it says 1 at the bottom. So there's just some trivia next time you guys are together playing cards. Let's go back to the radar here. Zoom out. I'm going to watch this storm and then I'm going to take you back southbound to where Zach is. So these are the storms currently moving through Centerton, Rogers, and Elm Springs. As I mentioned a second ago, there's a weakening trend on the Elm Springs Springdale storm. There's an intensifying trend on the one near Avoca moving up towards Garfield. The heaviest storm now is currently over Springdale on the north side of Springdale, kind of approaching Lowell out towards JB Hunt. I think the rain is probably a little bit nuts out there right now. The Oakwood overpass, which is looking northbound towards where are we looking at here? So we've got that the Pleasant Grove exit would be on the right. On the left side of the screen in the far distance would be Uptown, and of course traffic's not moving much at all, but the trees aren't moving much at all either. So that does indicate to us that the wind may not be quite as bad as what it's indicating there. The heaviest part of the storm is just south of Lowell near Silent Grove. I'm seeing it near Robbins Road, West Graham Road. Here's North Thompson on the east side of Springdale, Razorback Street, Collins Street. Here's Apple Blossom Avenue, which runs east and west, North Oak Street. Up through Lowell, here's Old Wire that runs north on 265 out towards Pleasant Grove, which we just saw a moment ago, moving east. And then farther to the north, here's Price Lane, Laurel Avenue, out towards Perry Road. Heavy showers out around New Hope, where that new development's going up just east of Bellevue there. That's going to be on North 22nd Street, moving east towards 21st. If you follow down that, you cross over 8th, you get into some heavier showers and storms that are out there around South 1st Street, South 8th Street. There's Elmwood right in here. This is where I was earlier today. You've got the junior high and I think it's Grimes Elementary School right there south of Rogers. So that's where the heaviest part of the storm currently is in Northwest Arkansas. No rotation. I'm going to double check rotation and hail before we drop south. So let's look at hail first. I'm showing the hail core, the biggest, still over Avoca. It's about quarter size or so moving northeast. Moving south now. Man, this thing has weakened. So this is the trend on that storm that's approaching Van Buren. You talk about fuddy-duddy, huh? I think it had a tornado warning on it and 3-inch tennis ball size hail, and it's down. What happened was it merged with that other storm, and it really weakened. It actually doesn't even have a severe thunderstorm warning on it right now, but it is approaching the Van Buren and Fort Smith area kind of as a blob. I'm not seeing much in the way of supercellular structures there, but imagine we can find a mesocyclone if we look hard enough. Let's see. Ooh, some gusty winds. Look at that. Let's see here. Let's loop this out. The gusty winds in green may be part of that mezzo. See it right there spinning near more of a big gust right now. Probably some damaging winds here, approaching 50 or 60 miles an hour out there around Long, northwest of Remy and southwest of Belfont. That gusty wind will might get into the north side of Van Buren. We'll see what happens with it and whether or not they elect to issue a warning. I don't see any rotation though, or anything to be concerned with as far as tornadoes go. And quite frankly, I don't see a whole lot in the way of hail on this thing. Last scan brought a little bit of hail out towards McKay. Let's show you where this thing is here. And go back to this source and drop a little farther south. We'll look towards McKay and we'll see if we can find it here. If we can get it to populate right. There we go. So that hail would be right in here. Let's find it. Let's see what. I'm going to use Bill. Kind of Pinhook Corner, same place as it was earlier, right? Lizard Mountain. Lizard Mountain. I had no idea there's a Lizard Mountain northwest of McKay, but now you know. Here's Dwight Mission, some small hill around Seven Oaks, northeast of Salisaw. Right now, this frankly does not look impressive as far as a severe thunderstorm goes. I don't see any hail or any tornadoes. I see some damaging wind that's possible in the storm. We'll let that thing come back around before we take another look at it. It's water tonight. I tried to do carbonated, and then I was reminded why I didn't drink carbonated beverages on TV. Because, burping. So I had to stop that. This is north on Pinewood. I just heard my son yell. Apparently, there's a new Fortnite thing out. He wanted a battle pass. I didn't want to give it to him because I feel like it's a big ripoff, but he did make honor roll today. And he also got, have you heard this yet? Probably not. So my son got voted most likely to be famous. I don't know what that's about, but I'm assuming it's because he's a class clown. We'll have to see how that turns out. The jury's still out on it, but I hear him yelling about Fortnite in the background. So if you hear some child screaming, it's not bad parenting. Well, I mean, that's questionable. They're on video games, right? But it's more of a PlayStation 5 issue that's happening right now in the Lewis house on the west side of the house. On the east side of the house is where we're doing this. And we've got some thunder that's out there, maybe some small hail. Let's take you back to the north here and let's look at it. So here's our storm near Rogers. Lightning, thunder. Let's talk about hail, though. Are we getting any hail out of this thing? Let me loop this. How has this been trending? Tawnytown, Elm Springs, Lowell. Where is that? Some lightning strikes here. That's out there by JB Hunt, isn't it? That's Pioneer Avenue. Yeah, there's West Robinson right there. There's Columbia. So Robinson, here's Dixieland. There's 49. Here's Goat Springs Road on the other side of the interstate. Here's the Oakwood Overpass. Goat Springs, where it kind of curves around to the left. You know, the Greenway comes south through here, and then you got the Matrix Gym, which is going to be right here. Let's see. There's Garrett Road. I had no point in naming that. But Fairview's over here, and then if you move farther to the west, you get into I think we've got Janie Dar Elementary right here. So the heaviest is actually out there on the east side of Garrett, out towards Goat Springs, crossing over towards Dixieland right now. So I think we can probably pull up an RDOT cam there and see what in the world's taking place. Why don't we just do that and see? How about the Oakwood Overpass camera? That should be a good one, huh? Here it is, and that is looking northbound. And you can actually see better visibility now than you could earlier. That's close to where are we here? We're just north of exit 78. So for your bear, here's 264. So there's a Workman's Travel Center here on the left side. If you went farther down Monroe, you'd run into Bloomington where the Starbucks is. And then you can take Monroe all the way down to that atrocious stop sign at Bellevue and West Monroe. You can't ever make a right turn here, or I mean, I guess you can sometimes. Well, no, a left turn's what I meant. It also floods a lot there. And then as you move east, you run into Monroe, and then you move farther east. You get into Lowell on the east side, heavier cell right there near Andrew Place. That's just on South Old Wire Road, moving out towards Frisco. That new scan puts the heaviest northeast of Montenay, though, out towards Beaver Shores. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about if you're watching near Chestnut Lane, Chestnut Drive, Spruce Drive, Hickory Drive. Boy, we got crazy naming streets after trees again, didn't we? Locust Lane, Oak Lane, Lucky Lane, and then Olive Lane. So we must have ran out, and that's why we chose to do Lucky instead of another tree name. But that looks east of Rogers. So I would say for the most part, Uptown Rogers should be in the clear, Centerton, Bentonville in the clear, Bella Vista in the clear, East Rogers in the thick of it, Tawnytown dealing with residual rainfall, and not much else moving into town other than a lot of lightning. In Fort Smith, this storm has really kind of just doesn't really look that impressive at all. Let me get a wide view here. Got another one down around Hot Springs. Let's loop this thing here. The southeast movement of this front is going to kind of crap out as it moves south. Can I say that? I guess I can. I'm not on TV. It's going to kind of fall apart, crap out as it moves southeast. I wouldn't expect it to ramp back up either. It's not going to be a long duration event for us tonight. The watch goes till 10 o'clock. The trick here, too, guys, and not everybody's going to see rain tonight, and not everybody's going to see rain tomorrow. Wednesday night next week, I think everybody's going to see rain. That's when we get a complex. But the stuff that's moving off the front or the dry line, eh. I mean, they're strong and they're supercells, but they're not numerous. And even tomorrow, there's a moderate risk out for central Oklahoma. I think we get a big bow echo in Kansas. It may clip northwest Arkansas super duper late, but I still think there's going to be a lot of us that don't get any rainfall out of this or the one tomorrow night too. I mean, look at Eastern LaFleur County. I mean, there hadn't been anything. Of course, I think we had some storms earlier around Poto, but still, they're scattered. You have really two pockets to watch. The one big pocket right over Oz, and another one here to the west of Fort Smith that's moving east. All of that's going to be trending across the area here for about the next hour before it starts winding down and eventually falling apart here as it moves on through. You're looking west here on the camera near Fort Smith. I was drawing circles and nobody could see them except myself, but I was talking about this storm, and then this one here. Yeah, there's one near McAllister too. So we'll see what that one does. The only storm that's severe at the moment is the one over Hot Springs. Not even really anywhere close to Fort Smith or Fayetteville. This is nasty. What do you think this is severe for? Why don't we just look? Let's go back to analyst. We'll zoom out. And let's go down to Hot Springs and let's just see. Ooh, they had 2-inch hail reported by an emergency manager on Highway 8, just southeast of Glenwood. Is this thing spinning? Survey says, well, survey says you're too far out on the radar and you need to switch sources. But it does look like we've got some quarter size hail, at least 1 inch near Hot Springs and Arkadelphia, 2-inch hail east of Texarkana. They actually had a tornado earlier, so that's larger than that's about golf ball size hail falling in the southern part of the state. Those gusty winds, though, that we were tracking that were moving from that supercell storm to the southeast seem to have picked up in intensity some. Look at the brighter green colors. This is coming towards Van Buren, so you'll get some gusty winds out of this. As of right now, I don't see any rotation at all. So the tornado threat is extremely low. The storm really has lost a lot of its umph. Here's exit 3 around Lee Creek. Y'all remember back in the 2000s when we had Lee Creek was dry and you could walk across it? Isn't that crazy? We're really fortunate to have so much rainfall this year that we're actually about 3 inches above normal in Fort Smith. It definitely helps, especially with our farmers that are out there. It helps these creeks, streams, the kids on the Illinois, all that stuff. That's looking west out towards the visitor center from Lee Creek. Looks like it's going in and out from black and white, depending on how much light's on there, which is kind of annoying. But I don't see a whole lot in the way of lightning that's out there in the distance. So don't believe it's a storm that's supercharged per se with lightning. Back over to analyst. Some wind out there in Bentonville, isn't there? Let's look at this thing a little closer. Yeah, some of those wind speeds picked up in Bentonville. The north side of this storm right there. Let's see. Yeah, we'll get out of Hot Springs. Let's look out around Bentonville. Yeah, there's some gusty winds on the backside of this. There's still some lightning too in Rogers and Lowell as it moves out. I'm gonna loop this real quick, just kind of get an idea of what's going on. Yeah, it's gusty winds right now. It looks like it's interesting. When you get these little appendages, you're always like, what's that? So you got to look at it a little closer. And if we look at it a little bit closer, well, it's not much of anything, at least not right now. So that's good news for us. Some strong winds, though, it looks like here on the north side of Rogers, moving right up 62. This is the area that just got that hail a little bit earlier, but not a severe storm at the moment. We actually don't have any severe thunderstorms out there. So that's cool. The one in Fort Smith is really falling apart. Holy cow. Look at this. That storm merged with the northern storm, and as that front retreats, which was expected, these storms were expected to weaken. After all, the severe thunderstorm watch only goes till 10 o'clock, and then it expires. I don't think they reissue it based on what I'm seeing on radar. The radar trends continue to show a weakening trend here on all these storms. But let's just check it because it is storming in Sallisaw, isn't it? We've got about 0.65, just smaller than dime size hail falling on the north side of Sallisaw. Doesn't look like it's that big a deal, though, honestly. Let's see here. Brushy, probably a little bit of a better shot of seeing some hail east of 59. The trend on this storm, has it been to increase or decrease? By golly, it has been to decrease. Although the last frame knocked it back up a little bit as it made a little bit of a northeast jog up around Aikens. So it is intensifying around Aikens and Brushy a little bit. That may be worth investigating a little bit more here. Let's just look. So here's Aikens, here's Brushy. Probably some decent hail falling around Brushy School Road on 59 running north. That's going to take it. This gets real fast, doesn't it? Great place to go deer hunting, though. You get up there around Nycut. Father-in-law's guy. He used to have a place up there. It's nice. Here's Stillwell. It's a good thunderstorm right now, but I don't see anything in it that looks like it's got huge hail or damaging winds. That gust front in Van Buren's about to move through, though. Watch these green colors. They've actually gotten darker and not lighter. So that's an indication, too, that it is also weakening. One more scan here, one more loop. Lots of lightning, though, coming into Van Buren. And after the 7 tornadoes that we've had this year, it's crazy. We've had that many. Just with it, we've had 7 tornadoes, y'all, right here. It's nuts. You talk about an active severe weather season. Those gusty winds are moving into Van Buren, so I'm wondering if we could see a camera there. Which one do y'all want to look at? Not that I can hear you. Let's look at the estate line one that looks east. We don't want to see that one. How about one that looks west? Well, that's the one that goes black and white. Y'all cool with that? Here it is. Yep, there's some lightning in the distance. That low cloud that you see above the horizon there, that's the shelf cloud. So that's the cool air pushing out of the storm. Again, to reiterate, if you're just joining this live stream, there are no tornado warnings currently in effect. There are no pockets of rotation that are concerning, and quite frankly, there's no hail larger than quarter size out there right now. So far, so good. Do see some gusty winds and a lot of lightning though that keep moving through. That's looking again west from the Van Buren area at that storm. And we're talking about these green colors and the lightning that's moving into Fort Smith now from the west. Let's see here. I'm wondering if we get a better shot of it. Maybe looking westbound, maybe from the 540 interchange. So again, that's looking west. So if you kept going straight on the left side, you run to the high school. If you turn right, you get on that big loop that loops back towards Fort Smith. Keep going straight, you end up in Oklahoma eventually. I think the hill straight ahead, is that Vista Hills? It might be. Might be a little too far in the distance, though. Again, that's westbound. Also seeing the lightning trend come down a little bit on this. So that's some good news for us, too. It's always great when you're following these storms and they weaken. And quite frankly, it did look like these were probably going to weaken with time later tonight. So this is not unexpected for us. Let's look back at this storm in Rogers, though. The little appendage still has my eye. just doesn't have any rotation on it. Let's check another source here just to double check this thing and make sure. Let's see here. It's around Lowell is what I was watching. There's nothing there. I mean, I guess if you really look close, nah, it's a stretch. So you can kind of see something trying on the south side of Beaver Lake, but it's a stretch. More of just gusty winds and occasional cloud to ground lightning. Really, two cells. That's all that's left out there. The one in Fort Smith continues to fade, although it's sending a nice little outflow boundary. And look at this little guy. Can you see this right there? See the little green line here? That little outflow boundary could spark some more showers and storms on the south side of Fort Smith, depending on how this plays out. Then you have that big gaggle of mess out there around Hot Springs. That's still blowing and going. So Rogers and Lowell, east side of Rogers, still looks like that thing's cooking pretty good. Again, this is not a severe storm. I'm going to try to take you out there real quick and see what this thing looks like. We'll have to look maybe probably northbound. I don't think Uptown's going to do it. Traffic's still moving pretty good. Not much lightning on that one either, huh? See if we can find another shot there in the RDOT cams. Here's northbound from Embassy. They're moving slow southbound, aren't they? There's Home Depot on the right. Village on the Creek's on the left. Cross Church would be on the left. On the hard right of the screen is where Mercy Hospital would be. If you kept going north, then you'd run into Bentonville. Slow traffic there, not surprisingly, with all the heavy rain that's out there. Those heavy showers are right over downtown Rogers now on the east side of town. Let's look at that. This is the wind speeds. Lots of lightning here. So let's take us back to the old radar. So some of the heavier showers here around Ulrich, South 8th Street. Here's East Oak. There's South 1st Street, Montenay Road. We're essentially right over downtown Rogers, over there by Onyx, by the rail yard. East Rogers getting some of the heavier showers and storms, and really Beaver Shores and Prairie Creek getting pounded right now, huh? And War Eagle, my goodness, is it raining with lots of lightning out there around Townsend Ridge Road and War Eagle Road. So heavy storm there out towards Rambo Riviera, which is just fun to say. Out over Cave Springs, some showers are going on 112. Those are approaching Lowell. No big deal there. I'm going to look for rotation one more time on this little sucker here. It's not there, guys. What we can do, though, is go to Analyst, and we can actually tilt the radar up so we can see, hey, is there any rotation upstairs, like a loft? Is there anything going on? So let's do that. And the reason meteorologists keep this pixelated, we can turn smoothing on. Ooh, it looks so pretty. Problem is, we need to see the pixels because the pixels really tell a meteorologist where the strongest part of the storm is. This smoothing looks better, and you can always tell. Well, I'm gonna say it anyway. Who cares? It's my own stream. You can always tell a meteorologist that knows what they're doing from one that doesn't, because the ones that don't know what they're doing, they smooth everything, including velocity. And if you ever see a meteorologist smoothing velocity, turn the channel because they have no clue what they're doing. Velocity of all things should never be smooth because we need to see the pixels. Matter of fact, Analyst doesn't even give it to you as an option, but some of the weather software that broadcasters use does give you the option. Bad idea. Never smooth it. Keep it pixelated because each pixel tells a story and tells us what's going on within a specific area. Now that rant is over with, here we are back in Rogers, and we're going to look for that rotation there, and there's not any. I see some gusty winds on the north side of Rogers. No big deal. The trend on this storm, let's see. It's been trending up, so it actually has been strengthening as it's moved towards War Eagle. Matter of fact, I'm showing about quarter-size hail now around War Eagle, approaching Eureka Springs, North Madison County, as well as Clifty. Yeah, we were going to tilt this thing up, huh? I got on that little rant, and it screwed me up. So let's look a little higher. So the radar beam right now is at 6,000 feet. That's pretty high. That's because I'm using the Fort Smith source. I'm going to switch over to INX, which is the National Weather Service radar, that dual pole radar that's currently located in Tulsa. And while that switches, I'm going to zoom back in. And when we get a scan on this thing, it's going to show us a little bit of a better shot here. So we're still looking at that little appendage, right? Like right here. I can put a little red dot there. So now I'm looking at it 7,000 feet. So that actually didn't help me. I'm going to go to Springfield's radar and look at it. Fort Smith radar may be the best place to sample this. Let's see here. We'll go back to base reflectivity. We were following the storm right here. The beam is 4,000 feet. So Springfield's radar is actually probably the best to use for Eastern Benton County. It's I say best to use. We're scanning the lowest levels of the atmosphere, and that's what we care about because that's where the tornadoes are. So we're looking at 4,000 feet here, 6,000 feet on Fort Smith. Why is there a difference? Well, because the Earth is round. Unless you're a flat earther, and if you're one of those, you probably should just unsubscribe from this channel and not follow me on Facebook. So the Earth is round. It is. You can see it from out. Did you see the eclipse? What was that big circle? See what I'm saying? So the radar beam leaves the Earth, and as it goes up, it climbs. So the farther you go from the radar, the higher the beam is. So we want to find a radar source that's closest to the lowest levels of the beam because that shows us what could be happening down at the ground. Now, we know that looking 4,000 feet up isn't down at the surface, right? I mean, it's 4,000 feet up. It's above traffic pattern altitude for aircraft. So it's way up there. But we also know that sometimes this can lead to damaging winds down at the surface, absent an inversion. An inversion will block that. And that's usually when we only have a hail maker. And that's typically when we're on the north side of a warm front. That air can't really get down there. The tornadoes can't get up. And so it's mostly prolific hail things on the north side of warm fronts. It's not what we're looking at. We're actually on the south side of the warm front. Okay, so now that we've gone through all that nonsense, let's look at velocity again. There's not much there, so now I'm going to tilt the radar up. So now I'm tilting a little higher, little higher, little higher, little higher. You might argue there's a meso there. It's 11,000 feet up. Stretch. This is what's happening with that storm. I think that let's just look at it again. Well, it's got a little north jog, doesn't it? Remember, we need a right mover for a tornado. But what's kind of cool about this is using Springfield's radar. You can see there's still a meso here at 12,000 feet above the surface east of Sallisaw. It's way upstairs. But watch this. We'll switch over to Fort Smith radar. But we don't really even see it down at the surface. Let's see. Oh, no, we actually see it. Look at this. Is this new? Yeah, let's see here. It is new. Okay, so watch the storm in Sallisaw. See it? That thing really pushed out some wind there. And we know from just looking at that other radar source that we've got something cooking upstairs. Let's go higher with the Fort Smith radar. Yeah, there's a meso there. And a meso means mid-level circulation. Mesocyclone, meso middle, cyclone spin, middle spin. So we're looking at a spin in the middle of the atmosphere. That's up to 1 inch hail too. I bet we get warned on this one again. Actually, that's 1.5 inch hail. That's probably going to be a warning. So does that cell, has it recycled? Let's see here. Sure has. It's almost consolidated, huh? Interesting. Let's go over here. Oh, there we are. New severe thunderstorm warning on this cell. It includes Muldrow, Fort Smith, also not much of Van Buren actually. It's mostly the Fort Smith area as well as Muldrow. Here's a look at it. New severe thunderstorm warning here. That's on the cell that we're just talking about. That's moving close to it's east of Sallisaw, so not a big deal there. But that one actually had a little bit of spinach on it, so that's going to be one that we need to watch a little closer here. It's out towards Blackjack. Let's see what the Weather Service issued this bad boy on. They did it for what? 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-size hail. They're calling it marginally severe. Actually, let me go back to that. I want to see at the bottom real quick. Radar indicated occasionally, and here's another trick too. If you're ever looking at National Weather Service bulletins, if they have tornado possible, then that's called a tornado tag, and that means the Weather Service is evaluating it for a tornado. So, if you're ever reading Weather Service bulletins, because some kids are, I mean, I did it. Then you'll want to look for that because that will give you an indication of whether or not they're actually considering whether or not this thing's going to produce a tornado. At this point, they aren't. They are showing damaging winds on it, and that's the storm west of Fort Smith out towards Muldrow that's moving east. Here's another look at it. I'm going to load several frames here. I'm just curious how this has evolved. And because I've messed around and switched sources, I've lost some of that. Let's see. 21 frames going from just before 8. Remember, this thing had a tornado warning on it earlier. Look at that blob that just faded. Almost looks like we're back to one supercell, doesn't it? Even that stuff to the west is gone. Wonder if Zach's over there. You think Zach's there? I bet Zach's over there. That stuff west of Muldrow is a little bit interesting in appearance. This velocity. Oh man, some strong winds north of east of Sallisaw. Yeah, those winds are really cooking there. We'll have to watch this thing as it moves through. Storm to the north over Rogers, though, that's moving towards Eureka Springs, is not spinning. Nor does it have strong winds. Nor does it have much in the way of. Even words than that. It's got some hail in it. Out towards Rambo Riviera and Tanglewood, Pine Top, and the fine metropolis of Rock. Rock is located on Rock Road. I heard their favorite music is. Okay, I won't do that dad joke. Let's go back to the south and let's look at this one again. I'm showing some hail out around Maple. Pretty big hail, too. This is probably at least quarter size that's falling. Where are we? We're along East 1064 Road, East 4720, 1064. Here's Maple Road. There's 64 running north. We run north out of Roland there? No, run north out of Muldrow. So north out of 64B, Muldrow around Maple. So that hail core is going to be tracking where? East southeast. It's coming into Roland. It'll be in Roland pretty soon. It's over Maple. It'll be moving towards. Man, why y'all name these roads like this? It's moving towards East 1076, and then East 1085, or put more simply, it's north of Muldrow, it's north of Roland, and it's about to move into Liberty and Roland. If there's a tornado that's going to form out of this thing, it's going to be on the southwest side near Blackjack. But remember, we looked at the rotation. It's not that strong. It's there, though. It's very weak. I think it was better higher up, wasn't it? Yeah, I said I was going to look at Zach. Okay, so let's see where Zach's at. And where's the Zach cam? Here it is. Zach looks like he's by King Tobacco. Was that Phoenix? Yeah, Phoenix Avenue. So he's in Fort Smith still. He's probably waiting on this thing to move into Fort Smith, I bet. This is Arkansas Storm Tracker Zachary Hall, and you can always follow him on Facebook or on YouTube, where you can watch his stream nonstop. Zach does a lot of good analysis as well. He's a good storm chaser. Not much lightning though, huh? I would see a little bit more. There's not a lot out there. Did that person just run a red light? No, I don't think they did. All right, we're back over here. Again, what we're going to focus on is two areas here. We're going to focus on the hail core, and we're going to focus on the little appendage south of Blackjack, where we could be looking at something trying to get organized there. We'll see. May or may not do anything. Let's see. Zach texted me while I was looking at his camera. I don't know if he's watching me or not, but he's watching that storm heading into Fort Smith. He says, I'm going to get us a view. So he's going to look over there at that. Let's see. So far, no other big crazy techs out there. Ooh, let's go to the Zach cam again. I shouldn't call it the Zach cam, but somebody got pulled over. Ooh, shouldn't have been speeding. That looked like ASP too. They don't play. So Zach is looking. He's coming down. Howson? I think he's hitting all the red lights. You know, this morning I hit 11 red lights driving my son to school. I counted them. Was not happy about it. Yeah, that's Fresno. So he's coming down Towson. So he's probably going to run into potholes. Remember that lumber yard that used to be across the street there in Fresno, off Fresno? That thing burned down. So he's looking north into this storm that's coming into Fort Smith. Probably going to get some hail in Fort Smith with it. We'll check back in on his stream as he gets a little bit closer. I'm more interested. What I was looking at is the base of the clouds, trying to see where the shelf cloud is, if we got anything lowering or anything like that. Not really seeing much of it. So he's headed north towards downtown. All right, let's go back. It's got an ugly shape to it, though, doesn't it? Here's a wide view, guys. One severe storm out there. It's the one moving into Fort Smith. Looks like that whole angry blob just consolidated into one storm. And it keeps moving south. Right around Muldrow. Let's go back to analyst. The hail's really up. Look at that little hail core right there. Now see if I turn on smoothing. See what I mean? You'd say, oh, there's hail there, and then you turn smoothing on and it disappears. There is some big hail in here though. It's showing 1 inch, but I'm actually showing 1.5 here north of Muldrow. That could be golf ball size that's falling. Guys, that's coming into rolling. So heads up. With some hail coming in, probably golf ball size into rolling in about the next 30 minutes or so. I'm looking for rotation here. I'm going to go back a couple scans. You got some Freddy radar data down there, looks like. Doesn't look like it's attached to the storm. Let's see. Could be a surge of wind too that's coming out towards Muldrow on the south side. I think this thing's still spinning a little bit. I don't think it's spinning much. It's not in the area you would think. You would think it would be more towards 64. Well, I guess we do have a little bit there. You can kind of make out a little bit right there. That's southeast of Muldrow. That's 40. 64 is on the north side. And then you got something cooking over here too. I think that's more of a downburst, wind damage type of risk here. And I think that one down to the south could be more of a something trying to spin a little better. Let's see. Yeah, right there. That'll be something. That's gonna be something to watch. Interesting. Who more that develops? Oh, you know what caused them to develop? You guys see the outflow boundary? Outflow boundary acted like a mini little cold front. Pop the cork, and there you go. That also kind of tells me these might be elevated. So it may be a little harder to get any tornadoes going, but it's going to be easier to get hail going out of it. That thing is not strength. This thing is really getting strong. Let's look at this. Yeah, it's strong. That's a strong storm coming into rolling. You guys are going to get hail damage out of this. Probably quarter to golf ball size here any moment. And this little hook shape does not thrill me. Wait, it runs out ahead, doesn't it? Like right here, south of Roland almost, like right here, where there's nothing on radar. Interesting. So we need to watch that a little bit closer. Let's just see what we can find here. Maybe trying to think of what shot's going to get us the best view of this thing. Maybe looking north from 271, maybe? Storm would be on the left side of the screen. We might be a little too far south here to really see anything. I think we are. Let's go back to analyst. Huh. Got some storms moving into the Van Buren area right now. Those are not the main part of the storm. Although, should this hail core hold together, oh, good night. It's going to get into Fort Smith sooner than later, probably about the next 20 to 30 minutes. We can look north from Rogers. That doesn't really show us all that much, although I'll show you the shot. That's a Rogers Avenue looking northbound. Kind of see the lightning out in the distance. Let's see here. This is north from Grand Avenue. Nice shot, though. We'll have to remember this one. If we get that hail in here, this will show it really well. It's really well lit with the street lights. So UA Fort Smith is going to be on my left, and then liquor store and storage units are going to be on the right. Don't laugh, because you guys know what I'm talking about. Let's see if we can find another shot here. Maybe that's looking east. That's not going to do anything for us. Looking south from exit 3 on the Arkansas River. Remember that flood? It was crazy seeing that water so high, wasn't it? Hope that never happens again in our lifetime. So the storm's on the right. Ooh, that's a lot of lightning. Kids and dogs are hearing that. Over to analyst. Zooming out. Wide view first. Got the storm that is not severe in eastern Benton County and Carroll County moving into Berryville. Looks like another little pop-up here north of Stillwell. That atmosphere has been a little worked over, though. We've had some storms already move through, so I'm not sure if it's got the nice warm air to work with. This one sure does, though, and it's still cooking southeast. Tilt the radar up. Yeah, there's definitely some rotation here aloft. And aloft isn't that high because the radar is out there at the dump in Fort Smith. So we're looking at it at 2,200 feet above the surface. That's mm, mm, it's not that high up. The good thing is because we are so close to the radar, we can look all the way down to 700 feet above the surface, which is where we are now, and we don't see anything spinning. You get into some of that spinning, you go up a little higher at about 1,200 feet, and you certainly see it there at about 1,600 feet above the ground. So the rotation would be right there. It'd be right there over Roland, actually, on right where 64 and 40. You know where you get off the exit there by where the pilot is? That's where it would be spinning, if it is spinning. You know who's probably over there? Let's see. There's Arkansas Storm Tracker Zachary Hall. Looks like he's headed that way. Let's see where he's getting rain. I bet you he's on 64. I think he is, because you got the cornfields on the right, Edwards and their car stuff, and the Klosner's on the left where the farm is. Then you got those stores there on the left I'm not going to talk about, as well as that entertainment center. He's going to stop here and there's that old well house looking thing. This is a really good spot, actually. I've been out here storm chasing before, too. You can see all of Sequoia County looking west. He is looking right in the rotation. Let's see. Got some wind going on, too, doesn't he? I'm going to go back to analyst real quick. We'll call Zach. There's something trying. There's something trying. It's a loft, though. It's not down at the surface. Zach's out of the car. He's looking at this storm here. Again, if you're just watching now, Zach is basically in Dora on his way to Roland on 64, west side of Fort Smith, eastern Oklahoma, is getting the gust front winds now. He's looking right at what would be the rotation in the storm. He's definitely getting a lot of outflow winds, it looks like, coming right at him. And a lot of lightning, too. He's trying to see the wall cloud, like I am. Looks like he may actually have spotted. He's pointing at it. I don't want to bother him right now until he gets situated. Oh, he's going to bother me. That's all right. Hey, Zach, I got your camera pulled up. I didn't want to bother you. Looks like you're right in the middle of it, man.
I'm trying to avoid lightning right now. I was told you I'd give you a call when I got here, but there's a lot of outflow winds. I'm sure you can see it in the feed, but this is it's pretty strong, honestly. I'm pretty surprised how strong the winds are on the leading edge of this.
Yeah, and looking up, if I go up in the atmosphere, I can see rotation on it about 800 to about 1,300 feet above the surface, basically right over you right now. You got any
Okay.
lowerings or anything like that?
Well, so it's hard to see. I'm not a lot of cloud ground, so I'm not able to see a lot of structure. You know what? It appears to be like almost like a shelf appearance above me, like a
Mhm.
whale's mouth. Oh
Okay.
wow, it's actually really neat behind me. I didn't see that. But no, I don't see any lowerings, but I have enough cloud to ground
Yeah.
to get a visual of a base or something like that. So, but like I said earlier, the winds have switched on me now. The winds, the grass in front of me is blowing from left to right. When I got here,
Yep.
it was more out towards me. So
Yeah.
there might be something to it, honestly. And I think I'm
Yeah.
getting hit with hail now.
Yeah. It looks like that hill's coming towards you. I'll let you go and get out of the way. And Roland's getting the hill too. So I'll check back in with you, Zach.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Right. Yeah, you gotta get out of that hill core. That stuff is nasty, getting stuck in there. Yeah, so he's basically right near the circulation, and that hail looks like as if it's coming down over Roland right now, pretty good. North side of town in Roland, you're probably getting at least quarter size hail. Maximum estimated hail size on this is right around quarter on the radar anyway. So that's what we're looking at with that storm. Um, like Zach, I'm looking for lightning strikes on this. I'm trying to find any lowering in it. That's the problem with storm spotting or storm chasing at night. You just can't see anything. If I go storm spotting or chasing in Oklahoma, as soon as it gets dark, it's time to go to Taco Bell and drive home because it's just you can't see anything. It's so difficult to see anything at night like this. Off camera, I'm looking for rotation. I see a little bit of loft. I don't see anything down at the surface. Um, yeah, it's like right over him. So if he doesn't see it, it's not there. It's a lot higher up in the atmosphere, I think. Hail should be coming down and rolling though right now. I'm gonna check back in with Zach Shot in a second. Meantime, I'm gonna take you over and talk about this storm and Roland real quick. All right. So first, let's loop this. This is the winds first. Nothing really stands out on that to me. Now I'm gonna go over to the reflectivity, and this really does stand out. So we're looking at some hail, probably quarter size, along Lennington Street, and then that's going to be East 1079. Here's Garrison Creek Road running north out of Roland. That's going to put this, let's see, over towards Pine Street with some hail. Percival Street, Wilson Street, Prince Street, Daniel Street, Dorcas, Russell Street, Oak Ridge Drive, um, Granny Street is over there. There's a Granny Street. Right? Or no, is that right? Yeah, it is. Who knew? That's where the hail is going to be the largest. It's coming off of Highland Road, moving out towards I-40 in Roland. The way station out there on the Oklahoma side's really getting pounded with that though right now with hail. And it's coming up. That's pretty close to that welcome center, isn't it? Let's see what we got out there. We'll look live from the Oklahoma state line near Dora. That's looking eastbound, so the storm's coming right at us. It's actually right behind this camera, so that camera doesn't do a whole lot of good, does it? Try another one. Eastbound doesn't look good. Here's west, exit 3. Let's see. New scan came through, still got it right there. So you're basically looking right at the storm now. There's a lack of cloud to ground lightning to give us a good visual of a shelf or a wall cloud here. I don't see any lightning. I know you guys are like, whatever, dude. Like I've been hearing it nonstop. And yeah, you probably have underneath it. But from out in the distance, at least to the east, looking west, it's hard to really get any of it and to see it. There's a little bit. Back over to radar. Let's see here. I'm gonna cut this down. I got this on 21 frames. I'm gonna take it down to 14. It'll be easier to get a look at what's going on. Huh. Still think you have a hell risk. in we're basically right where Zach was, North 4080 Road. It's basically the Moffat Bottoms if you grew up around here. But the hail, the white area, kind of looks like it's tracking towards Fort Smith. Looks like it may have trended down a little. Hopefully that continues. Let's see. Should have some decent showers going on the north side of Fort Smith right now, though. We can look Kelly Highway looking south. We'll get some shots out of this. That's the Kelly exit. So the storm's going to be on the right. Right? Yeah. Not much lightning on that camera shot either. Let's see if we can find another shot with some lightning here. New scan coming through. Scan took away some of our white colors. That's a good sign. Northbound Grand Avenue. It's moving in. It's not there yet. Let's go back to this storm. We're real close to the radar site now, so which is a good thing because if there was a tornado, you'd be able to see it really, really well on the radar. Some gusty winds over Moffat, moving into the west side of Fort Smith. That very weak circulation's passing over the north side. To me, this looks like gusty winds. It doesn't look like there's a tornado risk. And the hail's come down a little bit on it. The colors aren't nearly as white as they were just earlier. So that's good news. The 64 interchange, it's raining pretty good out there. This is Van Buren, by the way. Some of those heavier showers are starting to move in. Let's see. I'm going to look at Lee Creek now. Look at the curtains of rain. I think the rain is just torrential. Hail has come down on this radar now, indicating 0.36. That is about pea-size hail. It's very small, so looks like it unloaded all the hail on the northwest side of Roland. I'll go back to radar. I'll show you. It looks like I'm almost seeing a little bit of a weakening trend in it. Look at the purple, black, and white colors going away. Nice little rain, though, huh? See those storms with the outflow boundary? They kind of crapped out. Didn't really do much. And this little guy's falling apart, too. Matter of fact, the Weather Service canceled the warning. So now there isn't even a severe thunderstorm warning. We don't even have a warning in the area. You got to go down to Hot Springs where it looks like they had a 51-mile-an-hour wind gust. On the east side of Hot Springs, just west of Magnet Cove. Hey, and that warning, that watch actually expires in about 9 minutes, and I doubt they reissue it. Pretty good little storm, though, over Fort Smith right now. We'll go ahead and stay on it because why not? Let's talk about who's getting this strongest part of the storm. So I'm showing the Dora exit, which is unfortunate because there's a camera there and it just doesn't look that impressive. But of course, you can't really see anything because it's raining so hard. That's looking east. The heaviest part of the storm, the bright white colors on the radar, right there, are right there. Wait, no, right there. So that's Dora. That's over there by where Squash Blossoms was. Slow to drive for the semis out there. I was looking at this. I'm trying to make out how much of this is actually going to get into Fort Smith proper, right? Because I think a lot of this may just hug the river over Van Buren. South Fort Smith may not get much rain out of this. Sister over in Pecola, I don't think you're going to see much. Let's see. This thing is really weakening. Wow. Here's another look at it. And matter of fact, watch this. This will be fun. We'll do 50 frames. I'm going to go way out here. I'm gonna let you guys see how this whole event has evolved here over the last hour or so. We had strong storms, 2 supercells, one in Fayetteville, one north of Sallisaw. The Sallisaw one had a tornado warning on it. That one basically fell apart. It reformed. You ended up with a severe cell. The one that's over Rogers has weakened. The one over Hot Springs blew up. And then as it stands now, there's not much out there that's concerning at all. That one that moved into Fort Smith has really started to weaken. The reason it's weakening is the front is slowing as it moves southeast, which we knew it would do. Um, and it certainly is doing that, isn't it? Really on the downfall there. Um, let's see here. Take you to exit 5, looking eastbound. So this is out there, Van Buren. So if you're looking east, the does that make sense? Looking east? I guess so. Kind of looks like we're looking west, but maybe I've just lost it. There's not much wind. I mean, the tree's right in front of us, and it's hardly even moving. Of course, the storm is just south of this, so I guess it wouldn't be moving all that much, right? Let's see if we can look at the camera that's right over the Arkansas River Bridge. See if any hail's bouncing around or anything. And people are just humming along. They don't have the four ways on. They're not going 2 miles an hour. Everything looks good. That's looking north. There's still some lightning out there. And what's been a weakening storm over Fort Smith, which is great. Getting the rain without the tornadoes. Gotta love it. Hey, this one cranked out some lightning. Let's see what it's doing. Oops, we don't want to do 50 frames. We're gonna be watching that all night long. Let's do 7. Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't look that impressive. This one's really falling apart and fading fast. Let's talk about where the strongest part of the storm is, though. If you want me to zoom in on it, we're north of Riverfront Drive. So we're out there on the northwest side of Fort Smith. Here's Riverfront. Here's the Arkansas River. So here's the famous Marshall's Museum right here. There's Moffett. Here's North 6th Street. New scan. The Weather Service turns on what's called supplemental low-level scans. SAILS, basically, is what the abbreviation is. It'll scan faster. So what it does is it cuts the bottom layer, goes up, cuts the bottom layer again, goes a little higher, cuts the bottom layer again, goes a little higher. Used to it just go all the way up and then come all the way down and go back up, and you ended up only getting a radar sample every 6-7 minutes. Well, since the dual pole came out, the dual pole is better than any TV station Doppler radar nowadays because it's actually looking at the particles in the atmosphere from horizontal and vertical perspective. That's what gives us the tornado debris signature. So that's how we know if a tornado is on the ground. And it also has that ability to go back down and then go up, and then go back down and up, which is giving us those supplemental low-level scans, which really help us understand what's going on in the lowest part of the storm, which is where we care about because that's where we live. And that's where the tornadoes are going to form, as well as the large hail. So I'm going to let this thing come back around, and let's see where the strongest part of this thing is, and we'll zoom into it and see what's going on. So there's downtown Van Buren here on the right side of the screen. That's historic downtown. Oak Park, Riverfront Drive. Here's Midland. So the lighthouse would be right here on the Arkansas River. Then you got North 6. You got the Gerber plant up here on the north side. Here's North Albert Pike, North 50th. It really looks like this stuff starts about Kelly Highway north. Here's Division Street and O Street. So it's not really until you get north of Kelly Highway where you run into this. This is mostly affecting the north side of Fort Smith and the south central side of Van Buren. Historic downtown Van Buren's really getting it though. East Main Street, some heavy rain around South 4th Street, North 11th, North Fayetteville Road. Here's a new scan. Darker red pixels here near 255. That's on Riverfront Drive. So that's by, yeah, there's Gerber. So that's right by Gerber still. And then that's going to move towards, man, that thing fell apart fast. Weather's fascinating, isn't it? Watch this. This is a storm with tornadoes and tennis ball size hail that doesn't even have red colors anymore over Fort Smith because that cold front progress is slowing and stopping. Here's the catch, though. That thing is going to ramp back up tomorrow and cause all kinds of headaches for us tomorrow afternoon because there's going to be a pretty big severe weather outbreak probably out here in Oklahoma. Tomorrow, what probably happens is you're going to end up with all kinds of severe weather here. And then those storms are going to start tracking east and then getting into our area. Since we've been watching this, let's go back to a wide view and loop this and then kind of look at what's going to happen next. If you've been watching this for an hour and 23 minutes, God help you, because I've been talking about everything under the sun. But we've been following some strong storms this evening, and thankfully they have weakened. That one near Fayetteville is going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to do much just because the atmosphere is a little worked over there. But this is the radar now going through the 10 o'clock hour. Remember that watch expires at 10. I don't think they issue a local extension. They may issue a new watch though. If they do, it's going to be Little Rock East out towards Pine Bluff. So this is what it looks like now. Let me see if I can get you guys some data. Bear with me just a sec here. So this is the model data. I'm going to load the North American model, the afternoon run. We'll see how it handled these storms today. Pretty good, right? Today's the 24th, so I'm looking at tomorrow morning now, tomorrow afternoon. Look up here. Look at these storms starting to pop off. There's not going to be many. These are going to be supercells. Oh, you can't see them. Here you go. These are going to be supercells. And much like today, they're scattered. So it's not like everybody gets a storm out of this. There's going to be a lot of you don't get any rain today and don't get any rain tomorrow either. But these storms that are the models showing out around Enid or Pratt, these are probably going to be tornado producing storms tomorrow evening. Those things will continue to march east. Looks like the model's trying to simulate a line here from Kansas City south. Placement of this line is going to be driven a lot by the evolution of the storms. So I wouldn't say, oh, it's going to go north of us. It's not going to hit. No, I wouldn't say that just yet. We got to see where these things actually form. What eventually happens is you get a cold pool aloft that forms, it spills out. So over time, that cold air will spill, and that really dictates the direction of some of these complexes that form. That will especially be the case next Wednesday for sure. Next Wednesday night, Thursday night, with these things that are moving in. So these will be more widespread. Stuff like this, everybody gets rain out of it. That complex actually looks like it rolls east, though. It doesn't look like it tries to generate a lot locally. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I'm going to switch to the high resolution rapid refresh model. We'll see how this thing handled it. We'll go to the latest run. Actually, I'm going to go back one frame here, and then we'll go forward. You can't see Jack, can you? Let me move it up. There you go. This one probably handled tonight's storms a little better. This is showing what the radar should look like at 10 o'clock. So assuming the radar was right, this is what the radar should look like. Here's what the radar looks like. I mean, it's close. It's initialization, so it's okay. So let's look at how this plays out. These storms all fade, which we knew was going to happen overnight. This is 1 in the morning. It's not an all-night storm thing. And then moving into tomorrow, this is probably more realistic. This is a lot more aggressive with the storms in central Oklahoma. These are supercells with tornadoes up and down I-35. Well, I tell you what, Pratt, Wichita, both models had something up here, didn't they? That might be a good place to go storm chasing tomorrow. Up and down I-35 at 8 p.m. Then that stuff will move east off the dry line. It's trying to do something around McAllister tomorrow, late. It's also showing that complex south of Kansas City. So there's a little bit of consistency there. And then it drops east. Question is, how far off the dry line those storms make it into Arkansas? And if they do make it here, they're going to be severe with large hail and a tornado risk. But I think they'll probably weaken as they move east. What happens during the day is the dry line will move east, then at night it backs up, then it moves east again, then it finally gets a good shove and moves on through. So you got humid air on the east side and then drier air on the west. The differential heating between the earth and between the terrain and the ocean is one of the things that causes these low level jets to kick in. And also, as the elevation increases, if you slope up. You ever like track your mileage driving to Colorado? You can totally geek out doing this. You're going to burn more gas going to Colorado than you will coming back because of the slope as it goes down. I did that once driving back, and it was kind of fascinating to see. You actually use quite a, as long as you don't have a headwind. Have a headwind, will offset it. But all of that to say that the dry line forms in western Oklahoma, and we get whatever's left over once it moves off that. So typically, the biggest storms do happen up and down the I-35, I-40 corridor here in central Oklahoma. And then as the dry line retreats, the storms weaken. Some of them can keep rolling, though. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But I think that's what's going to happen next for us as we head into tomorrow. So as it stands now, we'll stand down. I mean, we've got these storms moving through, but that one in Fort Smith is nearly finished. The one in northwest Arkansas and Rogers, it's moving out into Missouri. You got a little guy here. It's probably going to cause some rough and tumble weather in Fayetteville, a little bit of a thunderclap here. But overall, hey, that's a nice way to end a Friday night with only a one sleeve roll. I changed shirts just for you guys, just so you know that. You've been watching some Oz weather here. I've got some other folks who help me behind the scenes. You'll meet them later on this summer. It's been fun doing this. It's a hobby, so it's not my full time job is assistant vice president at FNB NWA. I do commercial lending, and weather's always been a passion and a hobby of mine. And thank you guys for sharing in it with me. It's kind of fun doing this because I pretty much grew up here and know everybody underneath the rainfall, and so it's nice to be able to talk to y'all about what's actually happening out there and to get through some of these storms together. They can be a little scary sometimes, the way the weather is around here. So I'll let Zach get to wrapping up his chase. I bet he's done for the day, but I bet you he's going to be chasing tomorrow out in central Oklahoma. So check out his YouTube channel tomorrow as he chases those storms. And of course, if anything flares up, I'll sleep light and we'll jump back on here and talk weather again later tonight. But I bet you I see you tomorrow, and I bet you I see you Wednesday too, middle of next week. We're talking overnight storms in the middle of the night. It's 10 o'clock on May 24th, heading into Memorial Day weekend. You guys be safe out there. It looks like we can stand down for weather for the rest of the night.